Hello, welcome back to another Family Channel. I'm JJ Books Corner, and today we are filming my first video of the year. My first book of the year, I record my last and my first book of every year. I've been doing it for the past 3 or 4 years now. I think this might be the 5th year or the 4th year. I remember when I started this. 2021, no, I think it was 2022. 2022, 23, 2024. So this is the 4th year I'm doing this. And this year, I normally have a gimmick. First year was same author. Second year, I don't remember what the gimmick was. The third year was books featuring gay people. Don't worry about it. And this year is duology. Next year is also going to be a part of a series. I've already figured it out. I don't know what books yet. I have an idea for that one. This one's duology. We're going to read the first book at the beginning of the year, the final book at the end of the year. That book being The Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan, and I've even read 8% of it over the course of this morning, and I will be continuing to read it over the course of today as I'm finishing setting up my bullet journal today, and then I can jump into my normal scheduled programs. Daughter of the Moon Goddess follows a daughter of the Moon Goddess. Essentially, her mom, the reason why I picked this, by the way, was between a few different duologies, and I had decided on this one, because I physically had a version to hold up, but also two, it's been on my TBR for a very long time, and the newest one in the series called Legacies, which is a spinoff, also is coming out this year, and so I figured that'd be kind of fun to read next year at some point. So I've heard nothing but amazing things, and I'm kind of like in a fantasy mood. Daughter of the Moon Goddess follows a girl. Her mother essentially took an elixir and made herself immortal, and she was cast away. She had a daughter. The daughter ends up starting to use magic, even though she is told she's not to, and she is forced to be sent away under protection. I'm not entirely sure where she ends up. Xignon is accustomed to solitude, so the Celestial Kingdom is where she's at. Instead, she sees an opportunity to train alongside the Emperor's son. I'm very, very excited. I don't know too much. Like I said, I'm 8% into it. I'm hoping that I won't finish it today, but if we do, we do. Oopsies. If we do, we do. It's really not that big of a deal. I'll figure it out. That's the update. Hello. Let me come in here and give you guys the first check-in for Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. I have this much left out of the book. I'm like a little over halfway through it, and I have a little bit over halfway to go. I'm a bit of on the mixed bag on it. I think I was super intrigued when it first started, and it's kind of lost my interest a little as it's progressed. The writing also has changed a little bit, which I also found was a little intriguing. Not to a point where I'm like not enjoying it and can't read it. It's just a little different is all, which is fine. So like I was talking about, we follow a daughter, essentially her mother, as I mentioned in the first update, 8% in. She takes some more, her mother takes some more an immortality potion, and she gets trapped on the moon, and her daughter, the queen of the Celestial Kingdom, comes and finds her. And because they believe that great magic is being used and she can't use great magic, and so obviously that must mean there's somebody else there with her. She had her daughter there, no one else knew about it. Her daughter was sent away. Now her daughter is, I guess I don't want to spoil a lot of this while other stuff is going on, but her daughter joined the team to become an apprentice to the prince, and that was an interesting little bit of a storyline, and then it just and changes into something else, and now we're into something else, and it's a little bit interesting bit of a storyline. My interesting thing here is, one, the relationship I find to be relatively intriguing because of how many there are. So far we're up to 3 different relationships, and that's not very common for a book, let alone a series, to do. Normally you have like 1 or 2 depending if we're doing a love triangle thing, and this doesn't really feel love triangle-y. It feels very much more like matter of fact. It does feel like there's people a part of her life that are still very much liking her company, even if she does not enjoy their company nearly as much. The passage of time, I think, is also beautifully written. I like how we can flow, and I like how it shows her getting better at certain things. She's really, really good flute player, and she also finds out relatively early on in the novel. It is a very long novel, so early on it's not really like a lot. And we find out that she's also really, really good at archery, and she pretty much sucks at everything else. And there's some side characters that I enjoy, but I would say that's probably like a complaint of mine, that almost every character around her is a love interest. None of them are more developed outside of the romantic interests. They all have their wants and needs, and the reasons why, to make their actions as a love interest compelling, but nothing past the bare minimum point of it all. At that point, that was a bit disappointing. But the main character is also very good, and I'm very intrigued where it's gonna go. I'm also very intrigued by the magic system in this book as well. I think the author created a really, really unique one, and I think there's elements of it that are pretty cool. They're basically living in a world like next to us, I guess. They're like right outside of it because there's like cultures and stuff that are talking back to Earth and things, which I was not expecting. I was just expecting this whole thing. And then of course, because I was like, are there dragons? Because I was told that this book possibly has some good dragons in it, or this series, this duology. We're hearing more and more murmurs of dragons and the helpings of dragons. Also, I was not really expecting the scope of all the different magical creatures and stuff that were involved. That's also been very pleasant and surprising. It is also, this is an adult novel, which I thought this was YA. And so there's parts of the adultness of this novel also caught me off guard. And I have a feeling as we progress in certain of these discoveries, I think it's also going to catch me off guard. Other things I think could be maybe hitting a little harder are the action sequences. I think for the most part, the smaller ones work a bit better. There is no big lengthier action set pieces when we're building up to like a big scene or a big thing, and there's normally a pretty big long build up to whatever the next big set piece I guess is for the moment. I find it slightly lackluster just for the simple fact that like I feel like the build-up doesn't release the amount of time that I feel like we should be spending on it. I think we are in first person. Hold on. Yes. And so it does limitation you a little bit when it comes to a multi-character. Like she at one point is a part of a team, and in that team she jumps around a lot, and it's easier in a third person point of view to do a team justice. However, I've seen it done in a first person point of view as well. I find Battlegrounds to be more complicated in a first person because you're really seeing it from the eyes of one, which could be why they're shorter. With the high concept, I expected something a little bit more juicier in that regard. But other than that, I'm very much enjoying it. It screams like it's going to be like more like a 3.75 to a 4, depending on the second half. But I need to come in here and update you guys as I'm going to be reading more of it tomorrow, as I'm working on some stuff for you guys at work, and I knew that I needed to talk to you about it before I finish it, and then don't give you a check-in and then we just do a review of the book, which is not the point of this video. The whole point of this is to talk about it. Being said, I will talk to you guys tomorrow with a final check-in for this first book of the year vlog. Crazy. Hello, I want to quickly come in here and update you guys. Actually, I want to quickly come in here and close out this vlog. Yep, we are doing it. We are closing out Daughter of the Moon Goddess, and I have some queries and some thoughts and opinions. My thoughts and queries and opinions on it are all pretty simple when it comes to the book, to be honest with you. I just have some, like I said, some thoughts. How is there a sequel? I don't understand how there's a duology. Normally a duology means that the story has not finished. Like, the main plot for book 1's done, but the overall plot is not done. The overall plot is done. We accomplished all goals. We figured out who it is. The only thing I can think of is possibly the reveal that happens in the third act, which I did not see coming, to be fair, and I respect the reveal quite a bit. I think it was really nice. Also, it does seem like the author is trying to do something a bit different when it comes to love interest, because I feel like the typical answer here is an opposite one, like a different one than what it ended up going with. And I also liked a lot of the resolutions and stuff that were also involved here. I felt like some of that was really good. Overall, I'm giving the book a 4.5. I think I thoroughly enjoyed myself. The writing in certain places were really lacking for me, which we've already talked about and discussed at length, and so I think I'm really just going to keep this wrap up really short. I read the last 50% of the book. Lots of action happened, lots of intrigue. Also, right before part 3, I don't know when part 3 is. Okay, right before part 3, like the ending of part 2, which is at 327, felt, and I was debating if I was going to read this section to you, in my opinion, felt like the actual ending of the book, which is the reason why part 3 felt so weird to me. Yes, there was like a big reveal that happens, like, I don't know, I think it's actually immediately, like really soon after part 3 begins, and then we're thrown into chaos. But it goes on for another like 150 pages. I'm just super intrigued of what the second book is. Also, I've gone down to realize there is novellas. There's 7 stories written inside this world outside of the new one. And so now my brain's conflicting. Do I actually read the second book, or do you guys want me to review the stories? Because you do have to read it afterwards. And I'm just assuming we'll just take care of those next year. I'll read the novellas and separate and things in a separate vlog next year. First book of the year was Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I hope you guys enjoyed this read. I had so much fun with it, and I would highly recommend it. I can understand why a lot of people really like this author. I can also really understand why a lot of people really like this world and why this author wants to continue writing in this very enriched world. I would too. I'm curious to see where this character is going. I'm curious to see where they do, because I feel like the epilogue, which wasn't really an epilogue, was epilogue-y, like for a whole series. Like, it truly did feel like it was supposed to be a standalone, and maybe it originally was. I'm gonna have to do research on that. That being said, I want to take a thumbnail with my unicorn. because why not? Can you even see it? I don't think you can. Okay, this is ridiculous. I had to get something. There had to be something. Alright, that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog, and I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye. I'll see you guys all very soon for another video soon, and welcome to the new year.